Hello guys, and welcome to a new video posted on my channel. Today we are going to be ranking my top 10 favourite builds from certain mashup worlds. Now I did say I was going to do this video in my second announcements video that I made, and so here's my promise, so here's the video. So it's going to be a bit like how I ranked my top 10 favourite mashup worlds. But this one is only going to be specific builds in them worlds, so it's going to be a bit different. So yeah, if you guys like the video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and also like this video, and comment down saying that you like and subscribe, or just comment anything you want really. So anyway, let's just jump right in to number 10. And number 10, we have the Haunted Manor, which is on the Halloween mashup world. Now, I really like this manor because I really like the look of it. It has a really scary vibe to it, and it's because of all its design and its color scheme, and how I really like the white and the dark red color pattern. That I think that works really well together. And then you've got all the puzzles inside of the house as well. How you've got secret levers and buttons everywhere, and then them puzzles will eventually lead you to that to the basement section in the back garden. And yeah, I really do like this build. It's I've used this mansion several times for games and story things, and who knows, I might be using it for my Minecraft story universe as well. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I do really like this build, and it definitely deserves a place on my spot on my top 10. So yeah, out of 10, I would give this build, I'll give this Haunted Manor about a 6.5 out of 10. Because even though it's really good, I feel like there's just a few things that are missing with this build. I don't even know what they are, but that's just what it feels like to me. So yeah, let's now move on to my 9th spot. So at number 9, we have Beach City, and this is on the Steven Universe mashup world. Now, I don't know anything about the city or the town or whatever you want to call it, because I've never seen the TV show Steven Universe. But I don't even need to see it to say how good it is, because it is a really good build. All of its colours and placement of the buildings are just so well executed. It's really nice, and yeah, definitely. I don't really know if for me it doesn't really fit in the world with everything else, because it's too good compared to everything else, and everything else in the world is really messy and quite confusing, really. But that still it doesn't mean this build is bad, because it is really good, and it's probably my favourite main town area in any of the main mashup worlds, except from one actually. But you will see that eventually. And yeah, I do really like this build, and even though I don't really like the Steven Universe mashup world as much as the others, it still outweighs any of the builds, and I really do like it. Out of 10, I would probably give it about a 7, because it could probably be a bit higher if there was it would be cool if there were signs or something to show where you had to go and stuff. But it's still alright. So yeah, now let's move on to our 8th spot. At number 8, we have the World Rollercoaster, which is on the Halloween mashup world. This is a very unique build compared to the other builds that are on this list, because this build goes around the whole world. That's why it's obviously called the World Rollercoaster. And it's not the roller coaster itself, which is why it's on this list. It's the places that this roller coaster ends up on, which makes it at the number 8 spot. And it is a really good build compared to the rest that are going to be on this list, because of how unique it is. Now, the roller coaster itself, obviously, you can't really change the design or anything like that, with just the rails. But that doesn't mean make it bad. the rail design actually isn't too bad compared to like other designed rails in the game. But yeah, so it's still alright. And the places that this roller coaster ends up going to are like really like unique. So like some places you end up in between mountains, some places you end up in between like inside of cactuses. Like as you saw just now, you could end up right next to the Grim Reaper, or you could go inside a piranha plant. There's lots of like things you can do, and that's what makes this build really unique. Out of 10, I'd probably give this build about a 7.25, so slightly higher than our previous spot, because I feel like there's still lots of like things that are good about this build, and there's lots of like space that have great builds, but I feel like there should have been more good builds in the space of where the roller coaster was. I think there's too many gaps with nothing, but that's mainly the bits with the ones that are in the air, but so you can't really like argue with that. But I feel like they still could have done a bit more with this build. But yeah, it's still like really good. So yeah. Alright, that's enough talking about this build. Let's now talk about our 7th spot. So at number 7 we have the Underworld, which is on the Egyptian Mythology mashup world. This is actually a bit like the World roller coaster, because instead of actually like a railway and a minecart, it's actually boat on water. And this whole build is made in the Nether, and like I said, I just said water. It must have taken them so long to make this build, not because of like all the stuff they had to build, like all of the buildings and the snake builds and stuff like that, but that the water would have taken ages, like all that melting of the ice. That would have taken so long to do. So I really like what they've done with this build, and the vibe you get from it, like its darkness, is so crazy. It's so great, and that's why I really do like this build, and it's really unique compared to the other builds on this list. And then how you go through like different doorways with the beetles on as the patterns, and you find all these stuff. So you find all the snake types. You also see all of the like boats in the water, and you also see a few statues of like Egyptian gods. And I really do like this build. So yeah, out of 10, I'd give this build about a 7.75, because it could have been a bit higher if there was. I don't really know how to make this build higher, but I just know that it should be a bit like there's something that's missing with it, but I don't really know what that is. But it's still incredible, this build. So yeah. Alright, that's enough me talking about this build. Let's now move on to number 6. At number 6 we have Prydwen, which is the massive blimp on the Fallout mashup world. And this build I've loved ever since this mashup world came out, because it's a real what's the word? It's a real like point of interest when it comes to this world. And you should definitely like go visit it when exploring this world for the first time in survival or even in creative. So the outside of the whole blimp looks phenomenal. I'd say maybe it's a bit bland. Like maybe there could be a bit more design with it, but it's still incredible. With the inside of the ship, it doesn't really look like from the outside that there's a lot inside, but there is a lot inside. Like there's storage sections, there's like massive fuel tanks, there's and there's like massive like windows and stuff. But it's yeah, it's really good. And then the outside panel, like below the ship, with all the like the deck, like with all the I think they're like quadcopters or something, like the helicopters with 4 blades, so that's really nice. And yeah, the whole thing is just a really like great build in the world. So yeah, out of 10, I give this build about an 8 out of 10. because it's definitely missing its design and colour, and that's the main flaw of this build. But it's still incredible. Like, it's still a really great build. So I can't like say anything else that's bad about it. So yeah, other than the colour and design, it's a really incredible build. So let's now move on to number 5. At number 5, we have Dracula's Castle, which is once again on the Halloween mashup world, and this is the third and final build featured on this list, which is actually on the Halloween mashup world, which is quite interesting because Halloween is actually one of the first ever mashup worlds built, and some of the later ones, some of like the newer ones, have been some of the best and had some of the best builds. So it's cool. It's really like great to see that these builds on the older ones are still incredible, such as this one, because this build is an absolute masterpiece. It's extravagant. The design on both the outside and inside is incredible. Like the outside, you've got about 10 or 15 buildings all stacked on top of each other, but it doesn't look messy at all. It looks absolutely like perfect. And then like all the roofing like makes it just so satisfying and stuff, so it looks really incredible. And then the inside, I actually think the outside looks better than the inside, but the inside is still like really great looking, because it's got lots of like stairways and lots of just small like rooms, and you got the windows everywhere. And you've also got like lots of like really cool design elements, such as all the cobwebs everywhere, and you've also got like secret buttons, and so you get like cabinets and stuff like that. So that's really unique about this build. And this, I do really enjoy like playing and like jumping around and just walking around the whole place in this build, and I think it's really good. So out of 10. I would probably give this build about an 8.25, and the reason why I actually would put it higher if it wasn't for the design on the inside, because the design on the outside, like I said, is absolutely incredible. I just think the design on the inside drops it down a bit, because they could have done a lot more with the outside, but that's probably because they spent a lot of time with the inside. So still, absolutely incredible build. And I definitely think it's one of the best. So let's now move on to number 4. At number 4, we have Mount Olympus, and this is on the Greek mythology mashup world. And oh my god, what a build! This is absolutely incredible. It's absolutely huge, and every single part of this build has something unique to it, except from the colour, I guess, because everything's like white and grey, but still, other than the colour, every single part of this build is so unique. You've got, so like I said, like the whole build is like white and like a light grey, and you've also got some black in there as well, and then you've also got like the orange with the like the torches and fires, what I'm talking about there. And yeah, and the design on some of the blocks and all that is really unique as well. And yeah, it's just an incredible build. I would say that maybe some of it is a bit repetitive, but it's still an incredible build, and I definitely give it about a 9 out of 10. And like I said, it probably would have been a bit higher if there was more colour, just a tiny bit more. But I know it like represents Mount Olympus very well. So let's stop talking about this spot and move on to our top 3, starting off with the antique store from the Toy Story mashup world. Now, both the antique store in Toy Story 4 the movie and this Minecraft build is filled with so much design and so many like elements to this build, and so many things that they didn't need to make for the views to catch, but they did it anyway, which is incredible. This build it's huge, it's colourful, it's full of design, it's full of so much like really cool things to like really say how great this build is, and I don't think I could flaw it in any way, and that's why I'm going to give this build a 9.5 out of 10. and I'd say maybe it could be a bit higher. I don't really know. It's just the other two builds after this are definitely a lot better. So now let's talk about the second spot, and it's actually on my favourite mashup world, and that world is Nuka-World, which is on the Fallout mashup world. And this build, this entire build, is well, I guess you could say that it's incredible. Its design, its color, its placement of buildings, it's everything about this build is incredible. This is it. Oh god, I absolutely adore this build. It's my favorite type of town or city in any of the mashup worlds. Its color is like, even though it's got a bit of lack of color, it doesn't matter, because its lack of color like shows, like, it's just the design of this whole like build is incredible, and like how you can like the places you can run around this world is incredible as well. So yeah, that's all I can say about this world basically, and it definitely deserves, I'd say, a 9 3/4 out of 10. I'd say it would have been a bit more if there was just a bit more to it, I'd say. So yeah, before we actually go on to number 1, we're gonna do something we haven't done, and we're gonna say some honorable mentions. So let's see what them honorable mentions are right now. At number 1, we have Yggdrasil and Asgard on the Norse mythology mashup world. This is one of the most incredible, most beautiful, most extravagant, and just one of the greatest builds that Mojang have ever built. This build is, the reason why it's so beautiful is because of its color scheme, its size, its patterns, its like how much it outstands. It's absolutely incredible. There's no flaws to this build. It's literally a 10 out of 10 build. It's just so the tree size is perfect with the leaves and the trunks. Asgard on top looks incredible. I actually think Asgard could have just been a tiny bit bigger, but that's fine. I don't really care about that anyway. It's still incredible. So yeah, the top half Asgard is like absolutely incredible. Then the bottom section, where you've got Nidhogg, which is the snake or / dragon that that gnaws at the roots of the bottom of the tree. He's there, as you can see. You got the bridge there. That's probably a resemblance of the Rainbow Bridge, even though it's not really a rainbow effect, but it's the closest thing I can think of. And yeah, like I said, 10 out of 10 build, and it's definitely the greatest build on any of the mashup worlds for me. And then you've also got like the statues of Odin and Frigg on the side there. So yeah, this build is absolutely incredible. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe. And I will be streaming tonight. I will be streaming Call of Duty Cold War campaign again, so that'll be the second stream I've done. I also did a stream on that yesterday. If you want to check that out, you can do. And yeah, so I will see you all in that stream later. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in that stream later. So bye guys.